Spawning in the bottom left-hand side is our red Zerg player, a man who needs no introduction, one of only 2 players currently undefeated in this tournament. His name is Reynor from Clash Gaming.
And his opponent, a young Russian player representing B100. It is the blue Zerg player, Vanya. One of the most exciting young players entering the scene, who still hasn't made his breakout, I should say.
Yeah, I think Vanya is one of those players. He reminds me a lot of Gerald, where if there's an online tournament, Vanya's playing in it. And I've had tournaments hosted at like early morning my time, at afternoon my time, late night my time. It doesn't seem to matter. Vanya is always there. He's a really understated player, and his mechanics are incredibly solid.
Oh, they're very, very good, yes.
So,
I think he's still got a bit of maturing to do as a player, in terms of like just figuring things out, but I think mechanically speaking, he is just so strong.
Exactly. Well, before we go into the specific mechanics and build orders, it looks like similar or identical build orders so far on both sides. Let's talk a bit about this Group D. These players started a bit before I thought we'd be ready to go. So we didn't have much time to get into it before the game started. But Group D is an interesting group. Right now, all the competition in Group D is for that number 4 spot. Reynor is guaranteed a 1 or 2 spot in this group, depending on if he wins this series and if Mana wins his series. Vanya, our blue player, is actually locked in to the number 3 spot. He can't be bumped out from that number 3 spot no matter what. So all the competition is for that number 4 spot between Laser, Sort of, and DNS. So this match, Steadfast, is less of a competitive match and more of a show match for 125 bucks.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this format from DreamHack here, is that it takes into that all into account. And it's like, you know what? We understand that there's some quote-unquote useless matches in terms of standing, but they're like, well, what if we put a little bit of money on the line? And they're like, go on. It's like, how much are you thinking? Like 25, 50 bucks? And they're like, no, 125. They're like, all right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen all the players in today's matches, almost to a T. I've seen them all participate in entire tournaments for less than $125. And now with the great support we have from DreamHack, all of the players getting rewarded really richly for every single match win, and that helps keep the interest alive. And it means we get to see great matches from great players, where there's still some stakes, which is really great.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, actually. And it's really nice to help support the players as well. And it means that even if you go, 2 and 5, 3 and 4 in your group, you don't make it out, you still get a little bit of extra money for all that hard work and preparation.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, look at like Gung Fu Panda, for instance. Heartbreaking loss, right? He's 1 match behind, or shoot, look at Skilless. 1 map behind his opponent. He's still going to walk away with an extra, what is it, 250, 375 bucks from this event? Not bad. Reynor looking to put some early pressure on Vanya, though, Steadfast. Look at this.
Yeah, going for some early Banes. Getting a little bit, maybe a little bit frightened by the amount of pressure that Reynor is feinting right here. And forcing out a couple of those Banes quite good. It's going to put him at just a small gas advantage. And he is going to be able to slip a Ling in and get a scout.
Nicely done by Reynor there. Sneaking into the main base, but now Vanya moving down to the south side of the map. We do see Lair Tech starting for Vanya and Roach Warren down for Reynor.
Yeah, and well, this one Baneling is going to be a little bit late to get back home. Reynor will build another one, and he does need this. This hatchery is a little bit low on HP. Oh, there's not a lot to actually hold this off. Okay, more Lings do pop out for Reynor, and he should be able to dismiss this. But that was a little bit scary.
That was a lot scary. I was really worried for Reynor for a minute there. I think if Vanya had kept up that attack, he may have been able to pick down a little bit of health on that 3rd hatchery. And Steadfast, we have seen some games today where a little bit of health on that 3rd hatchery made a huge difference. Not even 5 minutes from now, but 10 minutes from now, when pressure continued. So I was a little surprised to see Vanya retreat there, but maybe it's a factor of it being the last game of the tournament. Maybe it's a factor of not a huge amount of stakes on this game, or maybe it's just he's a little nervous about Reynor, but he is going into that quick spire.
Yes, and important to note, both of them electing to go for Ling upgrades here. Well, actually, I guess not Ling upgrades here for Reynor. Reynor going to be going for a, oh, this Ling is going to get on through, and it's going to see the lack of a layer. That is a huge, huge scout for Vanya, and he is probably going to start a few spine crawlers. Actually, he starts up his 5th and 6th gases here. Oh my, no, do not take a 4th. Your opponent's going for a crazy all-in with +1 Carapace.
Oh no.
Oh man.
A terrible read from Vanya. Reynor even gonna slip some links into the main base here. Of course, the Spire's only about halfway done. He's gonna spot the Spire now as well. Oh, everything seems to be coming up Reynor in this game. Look at the line of red lings coming up the north side of the map right now. These are Banelings as well. Finally, Vanya listens to your advice, drops 5 spine crawlers, but it's not gonna be enough. I'm a little bit worried for him right now.
Oh, I am a little bit worried for him because the game is over. Reynor coming in with that cheeky +1 Carapace build off just the hatch tech. Vanya, even with that excellent scout, he didn't glean the information. And that's kind of what I alluded to at the beginning of the game before we started, was the maturity level of some of these players is they don't necessarily, mechanically speaking, very, very good. He gets to that great drone count. He's got his larva being, his larva injects are super on point. You know, micro very good, but not actually keying into important phases of the game.
So Steadfast, if you were Vanya's coach and you had 30 seconds, a minute to talk to him in between games here, what would you whisper in his ear? You know, it's hard to know what the pro players are thinking, what they responded to. But what advice would you give Vanya here for game 2, or maybe what advice would you talk about for game 1? What could he have done to maybe improve his results in that game?
That's a really great question. For me, I would say always build that Roach Warren at the front, because not showing that Roach Warren is going to mean that, it's going to mean that things are a little bit difficult to dial into, or a little bit telegraphed. So Reynor was pretty sure very early on that there was no, that it was going to be Spire. And then in addition, just pay attention to your scouting, my dude. Just, you know, don't be afraid to pop some spines down.
Yeah, definitely. I was so late on those spines, and we saw it very desperate. Very desperately trying to drop 5 spines, just a little bit too late. Unfortunately for Vanya, not able to pull out the win in game number 1, and game 2 now on the way. Death Aura LE, one of the new maps, one of the shorter maps as well, with those speed zones in the middle, making it pretty quick to get across. Do you smell some cheddar coming out from Reynor this game, or is that not his style?
No, it's definitely his style. He will absolutely pull the trigger on that if he feels the opportunity is presented. And I was just going to say, we may very well see a 12-pool drone pull, but then Reynor starts his drone just a couple seconds late. It ends up being nothing.
I was so excited. I'd love to see this this last game ending, or one of the last games, possibly game 3 going, of course. But either game 2 or 3 ending with a very early pool, you know, spine crawler rush nonsense. We had some of that fun already in our first CVC of the day with Cyril and Stefano. So I guess lucky once, but maybe not twice. Let's introduce our players here. Spawning in the top left-hand side of Death Aura LE, it is our red Zerg player representing Italy and Gamers Origin. It's Reynor.
I believe he's representing Clash.
Oh my gosh, he's Clash. I'm sorry, not Gamers Origin. What was I thinking? You're absolutely correct. Who's Gamers? Oh, Gamers Origin is Stefano. I got Stefano on the brain.
Well, to be fair, Reynor's had a very good record against Cyril, and we saw Stefano, very big threat right there. So
Steadfast, you are a darling for trying to make me seem like less of a bad caster. I really appreciate it. We got a little bit of ping from Vanya here, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop back to the interstitial screen while we wait and see what's going on with Vanya's lag situation. I know Vanya is a player who sometimes does have some problems with his internet connection there in Russia, but I think he looks like he's good now. And yeah, should be fine. So we'll hop back into game.
All right.
Game resumed.
Perfect.
And we have spawning down in the bottom right position of Death Aura, trying to go for those cheeky mutas, but not able to get away with it. It is the blue Zerg player representing B100. Give it up for Vanya.
So we mentioned a little bit earlier that this match not really that important in the overall scheme of things. Reynor guaranteed a first or second place spot. Vanya guaranteed that third place spot, meaning there's money on the line. But the only transitioning that could happen here is for this red player, Reynor. Right now, he's in first place in his group. He's one of 2 players who could still go undefeated. If he wins this series, he'll join Clem in the 7-0 club, a club that not even Cyril, Euthermal, or Big Gabe, or even Showtime have been able to enter, a little surprisingly. But notably, if Reynor loses this, and Mana wins his series, I think that'll move Reynor down into the second place position.
I am not 100%. I think now that Reynor has won a game, since he won the head-to-head versus Mana, he would... Oh, what's...
No, because Reynor, if Reynor loses the next 2 games, he'll be 13-3, and Mana would be 13-2.
Yes, you are right about that.
Ooh.
So this, yeah, Vanya could still knock Reynor out of that first spot.
It'd be a tall order, though, to ask Reynor to lose 2 games in a row to anyone, much less to Vanya, who I think is an amazing player, but maybe not quite as strong as mature as Reynor is. Mature, of course, StarCraft-wise, Reynor is like just had his 14th birthday 2 days ago, so poor kid. No, he's finally 18, and I noticed Twitter was poking some fun at him. They were like, "Oh, 18 years old, you can finally have your first beer, Reynor."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Again, early lair from Reynor here, though, and this link from Vanya should have spotted it.
Yeah, that's a really fantastic scout from Vanya right there. I was gonna mention Reynor not spending any of that gas on Ling speed, and well, that's because he's going straight up into that fast lair, that fast Evo chamber behind this. What else are we gonna see? No Roach Warren started up just yet, and a quick second gas. So this, okay, there we go. There comes that Roach Warren. This is, of course, a map where you can 2-building wall with a queen to plug that gap.
Because those queens are thick.
They are tick.
You can do it with Protoss as well, right?
Yes, you can.
Buildings. Yeah.
I think you adjust it a little bit more, so it's a tighter wall, so it's only maybe a Zealot or an Adept can hold that. But cool. It's the same concept, yeah.
It's so great when a map gives players little tidbits of like, oh cool, some you could try something a little unusual, try something a little unorthodox, and we'll just see how it works. It's so cool. It's so cool. So yeah, Roach Warren, and wow, Spire behind this. So at this point, he's going for the +1 Roach upgrade. Is that just a decoy? Is he gonna cancel that? No, he's going for Roach speed as well. There's no way those are double decoys, right?
Oh, they could be. And that would be a great move. You would say yourself, there's no way that's double decoys. And, well, we'll have to see. This may be an emergency move, and he cancels it right before stuff finishes up. But I would think if it was... oh, man, that's so hard to tell. Because if Ling speed was coming down, we would expect that to be +1 melee. But since it is that +1 Roach speed, there is the possibility where he does just commit to this. And, well, we are going to be seeing Roaches pop out. Oh, Vanya, oh, wow, beautiful snipe on the drone right there.
Yeah, wow.
Look at the speed.
Man, Reynor, Reynor tried to send that drone down to the 3rd location, I think, and grab a 3rd base here. Because Vanya's 3rd base is established now. If we look at the income graph, we can see it's been in Reynor's favor for a while because his macro is famously so solid. But now it's going into Vanya's favor, and Reynor is making 5 Mutalisks here, but he's going to let his +1 missile attacks finish. And his roach speed, so there's no indication of being canceled either.
Yep, so he is not going to commit to mass muta just yet. He is going to be going for, oh man, this scout. Oh, this scout from Vanya. It is not only going to see the Spire, it is going to see the timing of the mutas popping out. That is so useful.
Clutch scout from Vanya there. Now knows what he's up against immediately. Spore Crawler from Vanya. But Reynor has some tricks up his sleeve. I love that he only built 5 Mutalisks. He's not going for 10, 20, 30 mutas. Just those 5, maybe to throw Vanya off a bit, and the second spawning pool now going down for Reynor. Is that indicative that he's gonna these 5 Mutalisks are basically a giant fake?
Absolutely, they are here to kill overlords. They're here to get map control, maybe sneak a couple of drone kills here or there. But if your opponent moves across the map, well, they're either gonna have to commit and take a ton of free damage, or they're never gonna be able to move out. Not until, you know, they have a lair, they have a Nidus Worm with queens in it. And well, we're already seeing 3 drones get picked off, a little bit of creep, making things a little bit more awkward to defend, and we are going to be seeing Vanya commit to this attack, but Reynor is going to have a ton of roaches with the even upgrades and even queens for the defense, but this is a lot of roaches getting in here from Vanya.
Yeah, this is a little surprising here. A lot of the army supply tied up in those Mutas here, and Muta's going to come back and help to defend this. Reynor's going to hold no problem, but I think Vanya at this point is like, hey, wait a minute. You have way too many roaches out. Where are the rest of your Mutalisks? What's going on here? He starts the Hydralisk, then he does start the Hydra upgrades to defend against these Mutas, but these are the only 5 Mutas I suspect we're going to see all game from Reynor. He's not making upgrades for him. This is just some big brain play from Reynor, who chases Vanya all the way back home, and now he's on the offensive.
Yeah, I think he should be pulling back here as soon as these queens get engaged, because the roaches are going to be able to hold this off for Vanya. So a tiny bit of a bloody nose for Reynor, but at worst, he traded evenly there at the end. And as he chased everything back, he traded very, very well.
Yeah, not only the trades in the micro, but look at these upgrades coming up for Reynor as well. +2 about to finish up. We see Vanya's +2 rather, just about a third of the way done. But as you keep pointing out, most importantly, this Carapace upgrade for Reynor going to help him so much more sustainable in these roach fights.
And yeah, no, exactly. Not only is the +2 so much faster, and he has a big timing there, with the addition of that +1 Carapace, things just get so much more difficult for Vanya to deal with. Now, Reynor wants to get a scout and see if there is a lurker den, if there is a hive coming in, but he does have his overlord or his overseer shooed away. And, well, now he's just going to go for a big push with this +2 attack. He wanted Carapace done, but it's not done quite yet. However, I think he's going to get an easy cancel on this base.
My god, so smart. His Mutas flying into the 3rd base to draw some of the army over, distracting Vanya just a little bit here, pulling it back, and oh, Vanya making a big mistake and lose 3 queens right away here, Steadfast.
That is so costly, and as you said, a little bit of damage coming in on that 3rd base, but this is just so difficult to deal with for Vanya. Reynor has so much more. He contaminates. That Evo Chamber has been contaminated twice now, and with the Ravagers adding in support, that +1 Carapace finishing, and 2-1 versus just 1-0, I think Reynor is absolutely going to take this little, basically, show match.